right, let's bring in Domenic Romano, entertainment attorney. Domenic, good to have you with us. Well, how do you see this playing out? I mean, who's given the more persuasive argument? Is AG Live's attorney, Marvin Putnam, the simple one? He's a grown man and made his own choices. You think that'll resonate with a jury?
I think it might. I think he's doing a very good job at the beginning of their closing statements and laying out the personal responsibility argument. Also, their point of view is that this money was expended as an advance, and that's not uncommon in the entertainment industry for producers or production companies sometimes, or agents or managers even, to advance funds for their clients. And ultimately, he kept contrasting, 2009 from today. What was known? What should they have known? What would have been reasonable for them to have known, and also how difficult it would have been to say no to Michael Jackson. He would have been extremely unhappy had they not gone with his doctor, who he'd had since 2006.
Right. Key point there, and that's what Putnam points out, that he didn't just come to know Michael in 2009, that Michael Jackson has known him since 2006 as more of a family doctor. All right, Dominic, let's keep watching here. Let's get the folks back into that Los Angeles courtroom. Again, we're going to get you back into that courtroom as we continue to cover the Michael Jackson wrongful death trial. Back with us, our attorney, entertainment attorney, Domenic Romano. Dominic, again, Marvin Putnam, this is an effective closing. I mean, he's very simple. He's walking the jury along here. What, from your vantage point as the expert, what's the most effective element of his argument at this point?
The most effective element is highlighting that they had no reason to believe that this doctor, at the time, knowing what they knew back in 2009, that this doctor was somehow unfit or that would be negligent. That even if they can establish, even if the Jackson family can establish that the doctor was hired, they had no way of knowing. In fact, Putnam is making the argument, he made it earlier, that they willfully misrepresented Jackson's health. That they didn't ask to stop, that the doctor and Jackson wanted to redeem themselves financially. He did concede that AEG also had a profit motive in the concert to continue, but they weren't in a position to have known, nor should they have known, in light of what was generally public knowledge back then.
Yeah, and Dominic, the key question here, and it's question number one for the jury to decide, did AEG Live hire Dr. Conrad Murray? And where we left off with Marvin Putnam, he was going over that. And he says for two reasons the answer is no. Number one, the evidence says Michael Jackson hired him. And number two, there's no contract. Is he right on that front? Because, on the other side, you've got an email where one of the executives is saying, we want to let Murray know we're in charge here, and we're paying Michael Jackson. Real quick.
Well, the Jackson argument is that there was email and also verbal and oral discussions about a contract. Even though it wasn't signed, it was prepared. And so, de facto, there's an agreement.
Got it. Nice work. All right, much more on the closing arguments coming up. Keep it right here. Takes us back and also catches us up on where we are today. The death of the King of Pop. Now we're in the midst of the Michael Jackson wrongful death trial, and a jury's going to have to figure out whether or not concert promoter AEG Live shared in the responsibility of the death of the King of Pop based on the negligent hiring, retention, or supervision of Dr. Conrad Murray. Question number one, and it could be the biggest one on the board, did AEG Live hire Murray, or did Michael Jackson hire Dr. Conrad Murray? Back with us, our attorney. There you see that question again. That's number one on the charts here for this jury. Domenic Romano with us, entertainment attorney. Well, who's winning that argument? Because Brian Panish was good on this one yesterday, laying out that email or that discussion of Conrad Murray from an AEG executive saying, we want to remind Murray it's AEG, not MJ, who's paying his salary. That email screams AEG Live's hiring and paying. But yet you hear Marvin Putnam today, and he's saying, no, it's Michael Jackson retaining him at his request and his expense. Who's winning, Dominic?
That's the thing. I think Putnam is making some very, very strong arguments. I mean, think about it. What they're saying, what they're saying against AEG is that they should have somehow come to Michael Jackson's rescue, second-guess his medical decisions, second-guess his choice of doctors. I mean, ultimately, he also pointed out the indemnity clause in those contracts. The doctor was arguably a tour party, hired by Jackson, suggested by Jackson, under Jackson's supervision, not AEG's, or under Jackson's relationship, rather. And so, ultimately, just as they advanced money for Jackson to buy art because he was $500 million in debt, so, too, they advanced money for the doctor. And the contract shows, he read out the passage of the contract over the signature line, that Jackson was the responsible party.
Yeah, that's huge there, and we'll see what the jury has to say at the end of the day, but some high-powered lawyers going at it these last couple of days. We're going to continue with closing arguments. Dominic, thanks again. Great insight from you.